one of the reasons, and fans get like, well, why don't the coaching staffs hate each other? Why don't the front offices hate each other? Because they might be calling them for a job after this season. That's why. The laundry doesn't matter. The coaches and the front office people will rip off that polo shirt and put on a new one if that's where the paycheck is going to come, because there's only 32 branches of this company where they've chosen to work. So Joe Douglas, fired by the Jets, reportedly heading back to the Eagles in a scouting role. He had been the VP of player personnel from 2016 through 2019, did well enough to become the Jets general manager. And, you know, despite the fact that they were 30-64 during his time there, I think he did a pretty good job. The reason that they stunk is, frankly, and again, this is something that others will just tiptoe around, their owner is not good. The team is dysfunctional, and it all flows from Woody Johnson and possibly his teenage sons, who are rating players based upon what EA thinks of them in the Madden game. Yeah, so I think Joe Douglas, working with a hand tied behind his back, did a pretty damn good job as general manager, and the Eagles clearly think that because they brought him back at their first opportunity.
No question, Mike. I mean, well said. And Joe, you can't dispute what Joe Douglas did with the New York Jets. I get sick of hearing that actually up here sometimes. Sometimes I'll have people go, oh, well, Joe Douglas. And I'll be like, what? What? You mean with your superstar team you had with the New York Jets? Oh, he messed up Zach Wilson. Okay. You mean everybody that had him as a number 2 quarterback in that draft? Okay, everybody would have messed that up if they had picked number 2 there. And maybe some of that, again, goes into the owner. And if you want to blame Joe Douglas for anything, okay, maybe some of the head coaching hire and how it was set up and developing the quarterback. But damn, I don't know. Last time I checked, Garrett Wilson's pretty good. Breece Hall's pretty good. Sauce Gardner, pretty good. Will McDonald, edge rusher, gonna be a star. Jermaine Johnson, other edge rusher, gonna be a star. Signed C.J. Mosley in free agency. Quincy Williams at linebacker. Elijah Vera Tucker is awesome when he stays healthy. I mean, their center's good. Like, what is there to look at? He brought Aaron Rodgers in to help the team get him over. I mean, so yeah, Joe Douglas has got a good eye for talent. That is for sure. And that is not like disputable what he brought to the New York Jets. And damn, you know, the rich get richer there, the Eagles. To have him back in the building is going to be great value and continue their ass-kicking ways.
Remember, the Eagles version of that is richer get rich.
That's right. That's right.
Jihad Campbell said that on the stage after he was drafted. Right. Richer get rich. And Joe Douglas had to survive, and did, at least through most of the 2024 season, the awkward retransition back to Woody.
Yeah,
because
right
Woody
too.
was gone.
Right.
His brother Christopher took over. And I remember when Woody became the ambassador to the UK and Christopher took over, competitors with the Jets were like, oh, great. Now they're going to be better because Christopher's going to do a better job than Woody. And he really didn't do much of a better job. But Woody came back, and Joe Douglas had to deal with that because Douglas wasn't hired by Woody. Robert Saleh wasn't hired by Woody. And, you know, here we are now.
Yeah, change the dynamic. Yeah. Right.
Look, Douglas should not be the scapegoat. Saleh should not be the scapegoat. The scapegoat is the ultimate person in charge of the franchise because he's the common link in the dysfunction that we've seen with the New York Jets. And we've seen enough reporting, and he's just said enough things that I think allow a reasonable person to come to the conclusion, and reasonable minds may differ, but I think a reasonable person can conclude that the problem with the Jets is the guy who owns the Jets. And sorry, Jets fans, you're stuck with him until he decides to let his teenage sons take over. And based on what we've heard so far, might be more of the same. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.